Good morning, traders. Today is Wednesday, October 6th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. It's the Pirate Traders live stream. Will they push the like button? Finding out right now. All right, guys. So I want to start today with a very simple concept, which is the idea of balancing areas. We've talked about them to exhaustion on the channel before. And I mentioned yesterday that it looked like we could have been starting to set up for a balancing area, and that watching how the market bounced off of yesterday's high would be a big signal. So I wanted to start zoomed out here on the daily chart this morning so that we could just see what this looks like right here. Okay. So I'm just drawing this yellow box that shows you the balancing area on the daily chart so it's very easy to see. It started from the top, it traded to the bottom end of balance, found support, traded back up to the top, found resistance, traded back down to the bottom, back up to the top, and now back down to the bottom again. Okay, so this will be a little bit harder to recognize on the TPO charts. So I just wanted to show it to you first here on the regular candlesticks, so you could wrap your mind around what's happening there. It's bouncing from one end to the other, and that's very important, because that's a signal the market can give us as to what's happening. Okay, so zoomed back out here, looking at that same period of time, but here on the TPO charts, what can we see? Okay, well, we could call yesterday's high the potential balancing area high. Okay, it got above there last week, failed, pulled back in, barely put any volume above there, failed and pulled back in, and then the market rotated all the way down to here. Sorry, down to here. Okay. Looked down into this area, found support, rotated right back up, bounced off of this level, rotated right back down. So why does this matter? Why do I care about these balancing areas? Well, these are like a very potent thing to the market. It's very strong when the market is in a balancing area. And essentially what it will keep doing is it will continue to bounce between these two levels until it breaks out one direction or another. But the reason it's so important is that when you break out of a balancing area, you often get a big push in whatever direction you're going. We refer to it as balance leading to excess. Okay, so whilst the last few days have felt like they were crazy because of the amount of volatility up and down the market's been doing, on a longer term time frame over the last 3 or 4 days, the market has really just been balancing off. And so imagine if this is the range that we have for the balance, imagine the range of the excess, either to the upside or the downside. So essentially what that means this morning is I'm paying extra close attention to what happens when we get to yesterday's high. If the market pushes its way back up there to yesterday's high, gets above, comes back down and finds support, that is an extremely potent long trade for continuation to the upside. Okay, as well as a failure, if it looks above this level, comes back down and does not find support, that is an extremely potent short for rotation all the way to the opposite end of balance, which is what you can see happened in the overnight last night. Same thing with the low. So I'll be watching this level here, 59.75 as a potential balance area high, and 67.50 as a potential balancing area low. If the market finds support or resistance there, so it seems like it's going to continue lower, or it seems like it's finding support and it's going to rotate back up, those will be very potent trades that are worth getting in there, worth taking some risk, because the potential reward is very large either way. That being said, we opened inside the previous day's range. Or did we? Did we gap down? I stand corrected. It looks like we opened with a little gap lower. Overnight inventory was net short, so we would expect some kind of counter auction to the upside, likely to fill that gap. There it is. So once again, to the downside, we're basically just looking for support. We were talking about over the last few days, the way we built all this time and volume in here then in here, then in here. So it has felt like the market has been building support higher and higher. But if the market trades back down here to repair these weak references, does that continue or do we push lower? This would be that potential balancing area low. So the last potential support for the market would be right in here. If they look below it and pull back above, very potent long trade, and vice versa if they continue lower. Okay, getting a big counter auction to that overnight inventory being net short. So potential resistance above, we're pushing into it now, but it's going to be where this node of volume was from the 30th, and then the overnight inventory here as well in that area. So that's the first bit of resistance at around 43.13. If the market pushes through that, the next set is up here at 43.27. Certainly would expect some chop here with the thin volume we got on the way up. 74 contracts, 86 contracts, 19 contracts down here. So the market's likely to need to pull back in here and backfill some of this. So, Charles, why'd you go on and on this morning about these balancing areas when we didn't barely even get to talk about overnight inventory? Look at this big push higher we would have known about if you'd have mentioned the overnight. Well, the thing you have to understand about balancing areas, if you're new to the channel and you haven't heard anybody talk about these before, is that they are extremely potent. Trading down here this morning and breaking below this level, finding resistance, and then continuing lower, that will be a very good short trade for a big push lower. Or exactly the opposite, if the market pushes down, finds support in here, and then starts to continue higher, that is a very, very potent long trade to go all the way to the opposite end of balance. Okay, so what happens to the market in this area today or up in this area could lead to very big, very profitable trades. But in between the two, it's tough to know exactly where the market's going to go. So do you go long right now, assuming that the overnight bounced off the lower end and we're now heading back up to the top? I'm not convinced, right? I'd need to see a lot more signals telling me to get into the trade in the middle of the balancing area. But at the higher low, very, very, high potential reward trades waiting in those areas. Okay, internals still just recovering from that net long overnight inventory. Sorry, net short, overnight inventory. Good morning, Chris. Good to see you. Welcome. Arcaleon, good morning to you. Bryce is here. Good morning. Freddie's back with us. Good to see you. Mangala is here. Good morning to you. Miles, 4306. Winky face. Cool, man. Was that your guess for the open? I don't know. Ronald, good morning to you. TV is here. Good to see you. Welcome back. Ashik, good morning to you. Anybody know the reason for the big drop? My guess would be that balancing area. When you bounce off of one end, you head straight to the other. It's very common. It just means the market is in balance. Philip, good morning to you. Salmon River, good to see you. Welcome. Mediterra, good to see you're back. Edward, welcome. All right, buyers seem to be building up support here. So if they can hold it above this node, say 4308, they should be able to get another push higher. They got to keep pushing the ticks, though. They haven't quite been able to get the ticks back above the zero line. But they're trying. Arthur, good morning to you. Tom, good to see you. Welcome. Fausto in the house, good to see you. Vincent, good morning to you. Good morning to my friend from Belarus. Rainier, I don't look at data like that. I just look at the market-generated information, just the technicals, to guide my decision making. Jay, good morning to you. David, good to see you. JG back with the GM. Good morning. Oh, Miles, so you were saying how you were right. There you go. Edward, good morning to you. We're happy to have you. Thank you. Nicholas, good morning. Jitten, good morning. Can the buyers hold it up here? Yet to be decided, but they're sure trying. Somebody in the chat had said passing back through the opening price would be bearish. Yeah, I mean, it depends how short-term a trader you are. Passing through this like 4308 level as well. Probably be short-term bearish to pull back in here and backfill some of these low-volume nodes. Nigel, can you get that tick sentiment using NinjaTrader? I'm sure you can. A quick Google should find it for you. It's called the cumulative ticks for the Nasdaq and the NYSE. Let's pop over and take a look at the NQ, see what that's doing this morning. Oh, man. The NQ kind of also has a balancing vibe, but not as strong as the ES. I would see this as the balancing area right here. But that's only for the last couple of days. All right. Yeah, I mean, the buyers are taking charge in both indices. Nothing spectacular, but they are continuing to push the market higher. Still feels like they'll just find some resistance that becomes too much, and then we start rotating. But for now, they're pushing it higher. Bryce, is that chart on Thinkorswim? Yeah, the internals right here. These are on Thinkorswim. Rainier, how do you set it up? Well, you just, open up, put 6 screens up and then just individually plug in each one of these. So you plug in, money symbol VOLD in the top left, money symbol ADSPD in the center, SPX in the top right, then money symbol tick dash Q, and then NDX. So you just pop those 4 in there. And then this right here, this little thing that shows the 0 line, this red, positive 1,000, green negative 1,000 line. You can find that on Shadow Trader's website called Tick Values. It's free. And then on the SPX and the NDX, I just make sure to put the 15-minute candles, and then I add a 20 moving average, a simple moving average, on those 15-minute candles. And damns my internals. All right. Well, the buyers don't have it just yet. Failed to get above the 0 line on the ticks. So once again, if that 08 level breaks, look for a pullback down here to start backfilling some of these low volume nodes. Okay, so there's the backfilling happening of these low volume nodes down here. So at any point in here, the market could find support and take another stab at the upside. And then we watched as that become resistance now, the area that was acting as support before. Or does the market just continue lower, heading towards the lower end of that balancing area? If it seems like the stream is delayed, just give it a refresh. It should only be delayed by a few seconds. All right, backfilling, baby. Gotta get the backfilling. Okay, so they got down to that lowest node and they backfilled that. So can the buyers start to step in here? Can we see the tick starting to creep their way back up? If not, they're going to push it lower into the next resistance, which is right around here, right around where the low currently is at 93-ish. That breaks. The next one is pretty much heading down to repair those weak references left behind from 10.4. So I am feeling bearish here, but only for the short term. Like I said, there's support down here. Pretty much anywhere in here, the market can find support and then turn around and have a massive push higher because it's bouncing off of a balancing area low. But I do think we need to push down into some of this first. So bearish on the short term. Rainier, what is the tick chart measuring? It's measuring the number of people that are going long compared to the number of people that are going short. And that's all the stocks that are in those indices. So if the ticks are below the zero line, there's more people going short than going long. And when you see them moving in a new direction, like so this candle right here just moved all the way from down here to up to here. So even though there's more sellers than buyers right now, there have been a lot of buyers stepping in. So you watch kind of how they move and where they currently are. All right, 1 minute from printing the B period. We're pretty close to the low, so there's a chance we start one time framing lower, which would be bearish. Okay, so the market's begun one time framing lower. Okay, getting some liquidation in here. A little bit of fear setting in. Okay, so we're starting to get into the potential support here. But man, it looks like they really need to go repair those weak references. Yeah, guys, I really don't think this is news. I think this is just market driven. Remember, when we're in the middle of a balancing area, we got to push to one side or the other to test the high or low. If we find support down here at the lower end of balance in this area, the market can turn around and spend the rest of the day pushing higher, right back up to the opposite end where we closed yesterday. Right? It could easily do that. No problem. It could also break this lower end of support down here. And then you have a massive push lower. And neither of those are because of the news or anything else. It's just regular market movements in relation to balancing areas. Miles, what number is the balancing area low? Well, just to pick something, I picked the low from 10.4. But it could really be anywhere in this area. So for those of you that don't understand why is this area so important? Well, look, found support here, found support here, found support here, found support here. Every time we dip down to this area, the market finds support and then rotates to the opposite end. So there's no reason why it can't do that again today during the regular trading hours. Probabilities are very high that they're going to repair these weak references. But once they do, if they look below and then they instantly start to pull back up here, that is actually bullish for continuation to the upside. So let's keep a close eye on the market here. As of now, you got good taper on the low. Doesn't mean it'll be the low of the day, but just that if it was, it would have good taper. David, could I say more about good taper? Yeah. So if you look at the low right here, do you see the way the volume falls off very nicely? It's very smooth. You got 2,000 contracts. Well, let me zoom in. You guys are probably like, I can't see that, bro. So you got like 2,800 contracts, 2,000, 15, 13, 1,700, 300. That perfect, each level getting lower and lower. That is a good sign that that was the end of the two-way auction process. So it doesn't mean the market can't come back down here. I have to be so careful with taper because a lot of times I'll say like, okay, that's good taper on the low. And then people will just like buy long thinking, oh, that means that's the low of the day. It doesn't, but it's just one of those signals. If now the market keeps trying to trade down in here and it just can't get any lower and it's trying, maybe that was the low. You know what I mean? Because it did have good taper. The two-way auction process did come to an end. But it doesn't mean it can't be taken out again. However, when you have bad taper, like let's say there was one contract right here that had like 1,000 contracts right at the low or something like that, that would be a sign it does need to come back and do a little more two-sided trade. Okay, so the buyers are starting to step in here. Can they keep the momentum going? Okay, I'm still feeling bearish here because they can't get those ticks above the zero line. That's what I'd need to see to get me back to a neutral stance, assuming rotation. Rainier, yeah, this chart is called Market Profile. Comes from a company called Window Trader. Where is the zero line? You see this little blue line that's running across here? That's the zero line. They're just about to poke through it right now. And when they do that, I go neutral because I go, yeah, man, back to neutral. So remember what I said. When you have a balance area low, it doesn't have to be exact. It can find support anywhere in here and then start rotating right back up. And it could lead to continuation to the upside. We could start trending higher from here all day long because it's a bounce off the lower end of value to the opposite end. So obviously it's too early to make that call right now. We now need to see those resistance become support, right, on a pullback. But that's always possible. So that's why I'm gonna be open to taking trades either direction now, based on what I'm seeing. And it looks like I was a little bit early. I said I had to see the ticks get above the zero line. They were on their way. They looked like they were going to go. You son of a gun. When would I categorize it as trending bullish or bearish? If we have 3 time periods moving in the same direction. So if the C period prints and the low of the C period gets below the low of the B period, then I'll say it's trending lower. But a lot of times the first hour of the day, the market moves one direction, then reverses and goes the other. So I don't make that call until after the first hour. You assume feeling is lower probability, trending is higher probability. No, feeling means I just am guessing. Whereas if it says trending lower, that means that the market generated information is saying it is going lower. Not it's my opinion. It by fact is. That is the subtle difference. Well, the ticks got me. Now I'm embarrassed that I switched out of my bearish tone. So essentially, if that move up was going to continue, this would have needed to become support. We would have needed to be seeing buyers stepping in here. They do not appear to be, so those weak references below are still in play as a target to the downside. And here we go again. Back to neutral. All right, feels like we're setting ourselves up for a rotational day here. But there is always the chance we're going to begin to trend higher as it bounce off that lower end of the balancing area. Rainier, no, they don't have it in Thinkorswim. There's something called monkey bars, but it's not the same. NQ is about to cease one time framing. Say what? Whoa! NQ engulfing. Crazy. Okay, so the B period completely engulfed the A period candle. So that is like sort of a neutral sign. And you pretty much just go with whichever direction the market continues to move out of here. So if the C period kind of pulls back in and bounces around, whatever direction it breaks out, that's the way that you assume the market's going to go. All right, next potential resistance for the NQ is going to be that 20 moving average from the 15-minute candles to the upside, which will correspond probably with this 14,704-ish level right in here, POC from yesterday. Dude, the ES is about to have an engulfing candle. Say what? All right, guys. Well, I think that was a balancing area low. And I think we did just find support there. So that is bullish for continuation to the upside here. Targeting the opposite end of balance, which is yesterday's high. As crazy as that seems, it's not that unreasonable. It happens all the time. Ugh, come on, keep up. So the sooner that you get used to seeing these balancing areas, the easier it'll be to stop yourself from getting stuck. All right? You see that when it came down here, it pushed all the way up to here. You see that when it pushed up to there, it pushed its way all the way back down to here. When it pushed from here, it pushed its way all the way back up to there. And they go straight from one end to the other. Well, what just happened? It pushed its way back down to here. What do we think is going to happen next? I'm just saying there's a very high probability it's heading back up to there, as crazy as it seems. Now, it could just rotate around in here, too. There's always door C, right? Could just get rotation. But you got good taper on the low. You got good excess on the low. This could be the beginning of a big push higher. That's all I'm saying. Bryce, which one is more accurate, volume profile or EMA, SMA? I mean, that's you're comparing apples and oranges. Like, they're not the same thing. Volume profile is just a way to look at the market. It's just to look at where on the y-axis is the volume building. A moving average is showing you information based on the way the candlesticks combined with each other over time and what the average is of, all those candlesticks. So you're comparing apples and oranges. All right, so now does previous resistance become support? Okay, well, there's the cessation of one time framing lower. And like I said, this is starting to feel to me like the market's about to trade higher here today as a bounce off that lower end of balance. So that is what I am watching for. But I must say goodbye, farewell to all of you, my salty, salty pirates. Thank you for the 56 likes. Next time we'll try for 100. And I will be back tomorrow morning. So we'll see what happens then. Thank you guys so much. If you're a member of the Brigade, I shall see you in the private stream in just a few moments. If you're not, you can always join. There's a link in the description. You just click on that. You pay your $10 and you're in, baby. You're in with the big boys. Is the paid stream on YouTube? Yeah, you watch through YouTube, but you just have to access the videos through the webpage. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.